This is your official WWE NXT In Your House 2020 review here on the YouTube channel. Jeff here with you. Let's just get right into the card here. No matches on the kickoffs. They opened the show with this concert here by Code Orange. This was the musical group that sung the title theme for the show. This went about 3, 4, 5 minutes, whatever it was. Didn't really care for it. I'm sure some people liked it. I didn't care for it, in all honesty. Opening match, which was the match I figured they were going to start with here. It's a 6-woman tag match. We had Tegan Nox, Mia Yim, Shotzi Blackheart, the baby faces here, taking on the heel team of Dakota Kai, Candice LeRae, and Raquel Gonzalez. Not a whole lot to say about this match. Pretty bland, pretty basic. It was a bit sloppy, a bit choppy at times here. It was obvious if you were watching. Let's just get right to the end here because there wasn't really a whole lot to speak of. Tegan Nox ultimately won for her team at 9 minutes and 51 seconds. She pinned Dakota Kai with the shiniest Windsor to win, so she does get a bit of retribution there from what happened a while back when Dakota Kai turned on Tegan Nox. So some payoff there. Again, 9 minutes 51 seconds. I gave the match a C. It was a bit sloppy, a bit choppy at times. Definitely some mistiming issues here during the match if you're watching. I gave it a C. I figured the baby faces were winning here, and that's what happened, so we had that. Next match on the card had Finn Balor taking on Damian Priest. This was actually the match on the card that got the least promotion here, but I will say, watching these two in action, this was actually a very good match. Good action here from these guys. Probably the big spot that most people remember from this match, and it happened late in the match because they were just going at it for a while, back and forth action. Big spot late in the match here. Damian Priest was going for the crucifix bomb, aka the Razor's Edge. He had Finn Balor up in position here. He was going to take him over the top rope to the outside to land on the steel steps that were placed out in position on the floor. Finn Balor was ultimately able to counter out of it and was able to give this shot to Damian Priest, and he took this sick bump on his back to the steps on the floor. That had to hurt. It did not look good at all. Ultimately, Finn Balor gets him back in the ring, and he hits not one but two coup de grace stomps, I should say, and he ultimately got the win as expected. At 13 minutes and 9 seconds, Finn Balor won the match. I had predicted he would win the match. I gave the match an A-. This was easily a fantastic match, a match you should go and watch. Great storytelling here from these guys. I expect this program will continue, by the way. You have to figure that Damian Priest is going to get a win back on him at some point, but Finn Balor, as expected, got the win, and a great match. A- my grade. Next match was the NXT North American title match. Here we have Keith Lee defending that title against Johnny Gargano. The story of the match here was Johnny Gargano working over the eye, which he had done with the key on television, and also his hand. He worked over Keith Lee's hand. That was the thing they were telling here throughout the match. If you notice what Keith Lee was wearing on his gear, he was wearing the Black Lives Matter on his gear. Kudos to him for doing that. I thought that was great. One of the big spots in the match as it got going here was Johnny Gargano being body checked through the plexiglass on the outside. A good looking spot there. Gargano took it like a champ. We did see indeed Mia Yim and Candice LeRae did show up later in the match here. They do a little brawl. I thought maybe the match would end in a disqualification. They didn't do it. They just kind of did a little brawling and they eventually disappeared. And we get late in the match after that happened. Gargano had went for the keys because he brought him out because he made his entrance through the door there in the In Your House set, which by the way looked fantastic, I have to say. He put the keys in his trunk. He knew they were going to come into play at some point. He gets him out late in the match. He actually gouges Keith Lee with the keys in the other eye, not the eye that took it on television, but the other eye. And you figured, oh, Gargano was going to win. That's what they wanted you to think. They wanted you to believe that would be the finish here. I knew better. Keith Lee was able to withstand it, and ultimately, in the end, after he had a couple spirit bombs, he won with the Big Bang Catastrophe to win and retain at 20 minutes and 36 seconds. Great match here. Great storytelling here from these guys. I gave it an A. This was just fantastic stuff here from these guys. You knew this was going to deliver, and it did. 20 minutes, 36 seconds. Keith Lee won and retained as I expected he would. The NXT North American title. Just fantastic stuff here. Next match on the card was the NXT Championship match. This was the Backlot Brawl match. This was taped last week after midnight. We had Adam Cole, baby, your NXT champion, your longest reigning NXT champion, taking on the Velveteen Dream here. And of course, the hook to the match is if Velveteen Dream were to lose, he could no longer challenge for the title if Adam Cole is still the champion at any time. So Obviously, that was the hook to the match here. We see Adam Cole come out in this big monster truck here. Velveteen Dream comes out in the yellow sports Ferrari vehicle here. This was taped behind Full Sail University here. We see all the talent in their cars here. So at least they got a chance to sit down for this match, so I guess it's a positive. But this match, though, this match had a lot of hype, and to be honest with you, I thought this was very disappointing in all honesty. A couple of big spots here. We see Adam Cole at one point extinguish Velveteen Dream with his fire extinguisher. That was a big spot. The other big spot that most people will remember from this match, the two had worked their way up this ladder outside near this Dodge, which at one point saw Adam Cole go in and Velveteen Dream beating the Dodge with a bat here a few times. So they worked their way up this ladder here. The Undisputed Era tried to come out, which you knew they were going to get involved. The other members came out here to try to do some interference here, but ultimately Velveteen Dream did a deal where he knocked Adam Cole off the ladder and he fell backwards onto the hood of this Dodge, and he went right through the windshield. That had to hurt, by the way. His arm was all cut up, did not look good. I'm sure it did not feel good as well. Ultimately, Dexter Lumis does show up, and he puts the other two members of the Undisputed Era into the trunk of the vehicle, and he drives off, so we don't see any more of them the rest of the match. We just get on here to the end of the match here. We see all these chairs being thrown into the ring here, kind of that old school ECW vibe from back in the day, if you remember that. And we just get to the end here. They wanted you to think that Velveteen Dream was going to win this thing. I knew better, and ultimately Adam Cole does win in the end. He hit the Panama Sunrise onto the chairs, and at 14 minutes and 59 seconds, or you can pretty much say 15 minutes of actual action time here. Of course, there was a couple more minutes before the match here. Adam Cole won, and he retained the title here. I gave the match a C+. For this being a backlot brawl match, it was filmed cinematic style. This was easily the weakest of the cinematic matches that they have done so far. I thought this was very disappointing, in all honesty. Maybe my expectations were a bit too high here. Maybe I was expecting more than what we actually got. But the fact of the matter is, Adam Cole retaining was not a surprise. I figured he was going to retain. Initially, I thought maybe there would be some sort of screwy nonsense. Since there's no disqualifications in this type of a match, I thought maybe it would end in like a no contest with Adam Cole retaining. But he did retain. He beat him clean, if you want to say that. Because, like I said, no disqualifications, no countouts in this type of a match. And he beat Velveteen Dream clean here. So I guess the expectation is that Velveteen Dream may be going to the main roster here pretty soon. And then who's that going to leave for Adam Cole to feud with next? I mean, I guess the logic would say maybe Dexter Lumis, but I think it's too soon for that. So I guess maybe Finn Balor. And Karrion Kross, it's way too early for that as well. So I guess with logic, you would say maybe Finn Balor would be the next in line because he won his match earlier in the night. So we'll see where it goes. So that's what we had as far as that. C+, I thought the match did not live up to the hype, in all honesty. We had Karrion Kross with Scarlett Bordeaux. He took on Tommaso Ciampa here. This match was booked exactly the way it should have been booked here. Kross got the early jump on Tommaso Ciampa. Ciampa was able to make the comeback for a little while. He does get some offense on Kross. They finally show you that Kross is not invincible here. Kross does take some offense from Tommaso Ciampa with some running knees. He tries to go for the fairy tale ending late in the match. Ciampa does, but Kross was able to counter, and then he actually ultimately put Tommaso Ciampa into the cross jacket submission, and they do protect Ciampa here. He did not tap out. He wound up passing out in it. The match was called. Kross won the match at 6 minutes and 14 seconds. This match was booked exactly the way it should have been booked. I gave the match a B+. The right outcome here. Killer Kross won as expected. I figured he was winning here. You know they're going to have another match between these two, which I'm fine with. Scarlett Bordeaux was really no factor here. She did not play a factor into the match. She didn't really do anything. And, Kross getting the win was the right outcome. And I saw some people saying that maybe this match should have went longer. I thought this match was booked exactly the way it should have been booked. It should have been less than 10 minutes. And this was the right outcome here. They obviously think big things of Kross here with how they've been showing him so far on television. So, obviously another match coming with these two. So that's what we had there. 6 minutes and 14 seconds. I gave it a B+. Your main event for the night was the NXT Women's Triple Threat match here for the NXT Women's title. We had Charlotte Flair defending that title against Io Shirai Sherrod and Rhea Ripley. The hook to the match was who was going to win here. That was obvious. One of the big things here, and again, it was okay. I mean, there was definitely some mistiming issues in this match as well. Some choppiness here. The big spots, couple big spots here as the match gets going. We see Io Shirai get thrown through the set by Charlotte Flair. The In Your House set there. She goes through one of the windows there. It's a cool looking visual. Then we see Charlotte and Rhea Ripley battling each other out there near the entrance. We see Io Shirai, who had recovered. She went to the top of the set there, off the roof of the set, and she hit this big dive. While the visual looked good, it was a little awkward to see Charlotte and Rhea just standing there waiting to catch her to protect her on the fall there. Just one of those things, but it was a cool visual. So we just come back late into the match here. Charlotte Flair and Rhea Ripley. Charlotte Flair ultimately gets Rhea Ripley into the figure four. She bridged into the figure eight. They had it for a little while. You could see Io Shirai, if you were looking off the plexiglass, you could see her up on the top rope. They didn't show her right away. Then eventually they did show her up there. Io Shirai hit this big move. I guess it was like a leg drop or a knee drop or whatever it was onto Rhea Ripley. And sure enough, at 17 minutes and 25 seconds, Io Shirai pinned Rhea Ripley to win the NXT Women's title. Not surprised that they switched the title here. I knew they were going to. I thought for sure they were going to put it back on Rhea Ripley. In all honesty, Rhea Ripley should not have lost the title to Charlotte at WrestleMania. And you knew that Charlotte Flair was not going to be involved in the decision here, whether it was by submission or pin. It was obvious that she was going to be protected here, so I figured it was either going to be Rhea pinning or submitting Io Shirai, or Io Shirai pinning or submitting Rhea. They wound up going with Io pinning Rhea, so unfortunately, even though Io Shirai winning her NXT title for the first time is great, it unfortunately comes at the expense of Rhea Ripley, who's really come off cold since WrestleMania, and this did not make her look any better here. So Charlotte pretty much leaves NXT to go back to Raw. You figure Io Shirai and Rhea Ripley are going to continue their feud here for this title, so we'll see. Io Shirai is actually a heel in this situation, while Rhea Ripley's been the babyface. I wonder if they're going to maybe do some role reversal here. We'll have to wait and see. So 17 minutes and 25 seconds. I gave the match a B-. Again, it was fine, but, you know, Charlotte losing the title was not a surprise here. I figured she was, but that was it. So they put it on Io Shirai. They went for a feel-good moment as they went off the air, and that was it. So that was WWE NXT In Your House TakeOver style here. So let's get on to my official grade. And I should mention that Marvin, Beth Phoenix, and Tom Phillips were on the call. My final grade for the show is a B. I thought this was actually, for the most part, a pretty good show. Not a perfect show by any stretch of the imagination. Just a couple of notes here as well. We did see Todd Pettingill. He did a promo here, a 60-second promo hyping up the show, and then later on they had him come on in the show to plug NXT merchandise on the WWE shop. That was it. I thought we were going to see more Todd Pettingill here. A little bit disappointed we didn't get more of him here, but at least it was cool to see him, so that was nice. They did these old school promotional consideration spots as well for the ice cream sandwiches and also for Ico Pro. That was one just kind of came out of nowhere, so that was kind of neat. So, but yeah, as far as my final grade, it's a B. It's definitely a passable show. Not a perfect show. Not the best NXT TakeOver show I've ever seen. I will say that the crowd they had there, the NXT wrestlers and the Performance Center recruits, I thought they actually sounded pretty good here. They were actually fired up and into it, which made it sound a little bit better here. But yeah, my final grade is a B, so that's what we had there. So let me know down in the comments section below what your favorite moment from NXT TakeOver In Your House was, and we'll see you the next time in the next review here on the YouTube channel. Bye for now, everyone.